Hey folks, it's Rick. So today I'll talk to people who are trying to get better at power chords. You know, if you've been playing guitar for a really long time, then power chords are easier for you because your fingers are used to it. You've got some muscle memory and some coordination developed. But if you're just starting, then, you know, power chords might be something tough for you to move around. There's the idea of a shape that you have to hold in your finger. There's the idea of targeting specific frets and not wanting to miss them and don't wanting to sound bad as you're moving your hand. You know, there's different ways that one could approach it. It's an issue of practice, but we always want practice to be fun, or else we won't practice for long, right? Or at least to have a goal. And so one way that I could recommend to practice is to take a power chord and just play unmusical exercises. Just make things up. So here's one way you can do. You can go up 3 frets, down 1 fret. Up 3 frets, down 1 fret. Up 3 frets, down 1 fret. And so on. So I'm making a mess of it, but still, that's a good way to practice. You can do it with the 2-finger power chord. That's 1 on the 6th string and 3 on the 5th string, 2 frets up. Or with this, sometimes people use 1 and 4 also. I'm guilty of it. For some reason, that feels better sometimes. But you can use the 2-finger power chord. Or you can use the 3-finger power chord, which sounds a little thicker. So you use 1, 3, and 4. In this case, it's G, so it's going to be the 3rd fret, 5th fret, and 5th fret. So it gives you a little bit more of a thicker power chord. So you just target things like that. If you give yourself specific frets that you want to move to over and over and over, that way your brain can say, I'm going to that fret, and you can look down, your eyes can hit that. And then maybe going backward is easy enough that you could do it without looking. So if I look away on the 3-fret jump, sometimes I mess that up a little bit. But the idea is that you get your hands used to it. You build up muscle memory. You build up this shape. You know, there's a bunch of little muscles in your fingers that have never done anything like this. If you just started playing guitar, these little muscles have never done this before. And so you really have to teach them to do this curl shape and to press firmly in the right spot. So that's all really important. Now, I talked about how we could have the 2-finger power chord, which is really good for moving around fast, you know. Or, you know, the 3-finger, which has a lot of power to it. Alright, now here's the other one, is that you want to be able to jump strings. So you want to be able to start your power chord on the 6th string and on the 5th string. So I'm just jumping back and forth. I'm skipping a fret each time. I'm going up 2 frets, up 1 string, then go back down, up 2 frets, going back, do it the opposite way. Go back 2 frets and up, or you can start on the here. That might be too easy, so you go like this. Change it up. Do different things that your fingers are not going to be used to. I mean, a lot of us know. It's called the T riff because it makes a T. Starting on the 5th string, going to the 6th string, up 2 frets, back 4 frets. And you can play almost every Green Day song. Blink-182. They're not all like that. Sometimes they go. Another power chord that's important to be able to play, and I know I'm saying this, being able to play the open power chord is something that people overlook, right? And be able to mix it with other chords. So mix in the open power chord, the open 2-2 or open 2. Just mixing things up. I'm playing open here, fretted here, open there, fretted there. Those are different things that you can do. Now look, people don't often think of this as a power chord. You see the D chord? It's a power chord if you lift up your second finger and mute that string. Right? And so there's no reason why you shouldn't practice power chords also starting on the 4th string. If you want to do the 3-finger version of that one, you have to move the highest note up 1 fret. Oh, and that's what's cool about that too, is you can extend your first finger down to the 5th, get a really big power chord. What is a good song that you can use for practicing this? Because again, we don't want to just play boring exercises all the time. They're helpful, what I said before, really helpful. If you have the discipline to sit there and do that for a half an hour, it's definitely going to help you out. But learning songs that you like, and that you can apply to your power chord stuff. There are songs that are really simple that you can learn, and then there are songs that are a lot more difficult. So let me give you some examples. This was always one of the very first things I would teach my students to do, is to play this. Now they didn't have the right hand thing down, so it sounded more like... Sometimes they would have a hard time just keeping their pick on those strings, and so it might sound like... It's okay, it's all progress. But what you want to do is make it sound nice and clean. And what I'm doing on my fretting hand, watch. I'm just dropping my hand down on the bridge. So again, those are the open power chords. They start with the open 6th string. We go into the 5th string, 2nd fret, and then. And you know what? You don't have to use your first finger for these. You can use your second fingers, because sometimes the second finger works. Sometimes you're doing. Doesn't matter what finger. You use your pinky if you want. It's good for building up your pinky, I guess. Songs. First one. You recognize this. Right, so there I'm just using 1 and 3 on 1st fret, 6th string. Remember, we're doing 1 string and then go up 2 frets for the next string. Right? And then we go to here on the 4th fret and do the same thing. So you can just go. Really simple, a good beginning practice for power chords. You want to go more of a classic rock thing? You could do the good old. So So what I'm doing here is I'm playing this chord twice and then stopping the strings with my hand. Wait, let me back up a little. All right, here we go. And I try to lift my hand just a little bit when I move. Now, if you can move your hand without much string noise, that's great. If you were playing with a band, it wouldn't matter much. But if you can just lift enough so that you're not disrupting your shape that your hand is holding, but you could quickly move your hand. You don't want to be like... where you hold your fingers down and you get every note in the world between. You want to be light. And that goes without saying, because any guitar playing that you do, you want to have a nice light touch as much as you can, so you don't get your hand hurt with some sort of a carpal tunnel injury or something. It's always best to be as relaxed with your left hand as you can. Okay, so that was one song, or two songs. Now here's another one. This is I have two more, and they're a little bit more complicated. But what they're doing is they're doing more switching between the strings, and they're doing more fret jumping. But they're really easy once you learn them, and they're really fun. So first one is this. Okay, so you don't have to do the bending part. But this is a really great one, and it's Godzilla by Blue Oyster Cult. This is 1, 3, 4. And then I just go up to the next string. So start on the 3rd fret, up to the next string, slide to, I know I just said you shouldn't do that, but there's some songs, where you should do. That's what they call for. So, and then you just drop down to the 6th string again, and up 1 fret. Okay, so again. And then I just move up 1 fret and 1 string. So I'm just going cattywampus diagonally. And I do a 1 fret slide. Then I do 8th fret back to the 3rd fret on the 6th string. So I think you'll find at first, if you're just learning power chords at first, that's going to be a little bit challenging, but it's going to really help you do all the things we've been talking about, which is holding your fingers together in that shape, being able to accurately jump, and have a nice method about doing that. Now, one more song, and then I'll talk about how you practice this. So that's the beginning and the chorus of Pat Benatar, Hit Me With Your Best Shot, which is a great song from the 80s. Start on the 7th fret, which is E, which means, by the way, that you can play this open E note below, and it works. I mean, that wouldn't work on an F chord or on a C sharp. It's not terrible, but it doesn't really work. That works for the song. So you're going 5th string, twice on the 6th string on the 5th fret, and then back to the 5th string, you do the 4th fret, down to the 2nd fret. Now another way you can do that, you can go all the way up to the 9th fret and stay on the 6th string if that's easier for you at first. Right. I try to keep away from playing too many power chords up here. They don't have as cool a tone. They don't have as good of timbre, if you will. actually makes this part harder. Down here, see what I'm doing? If I do it on the 5th string, I go 4, 4, 2, 2, open, open. So I can just drop down to my first finger holding down those two 4th and 3rd string 2nd fret notes. So those are 2 tunes that you can practice for more advanced stuff. Now what I like to do is this. I like to get a metronome going, you know, so I can work my way up. It helps you to do things quicker and more accurately in a more practiced method. So you can go. Right? Or the other. Now that was sort of a medium speed. You could start off a much slower speed than that, and then slowly work your way up. If you don't like using the metronome, you know, on iPads and iPhones, and I'm sure on Android devices, there's all kinds of backing drum things that you can find. But I recommend a good metronome or something on your computer that'll play drums for you. You can adjust the tempo up and down. Not everybody has that, but that's what you can do. Yeah, practice your power chords. They're a lot of fun. You'll need them in professional playing, even if it's not like heavy rock. You know, I use them all the time because sometimes people want to hear the electric guitar go. Whatever music it is. I mean, you could be playing something really gentle. If you can throw that stuff in, that's kind of cool. All right. Peace to you. If you have any questions, you leave them in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them in a later video. So I hope this helps. We'll see you.
Or you think you're better than me? Go ahead. Pick out anything in the room here. I'll lift it up over my head.
Look, no one is lifting anything.
The television. This one's for you, Pop. It's go time. Oh, my back! Call an ambulance!
We're already in a hospital.